Well, hello there. I hope that you are doing absolutely awesome. This is Tuesday, the 20th of May, and I am attorney Demitrus Evans, but you probably already know that because you're on my page. If you see this, unless we've done something else, or unless AI is going to automatically pick it up. Who knows? I am attorney Demitrus Evans of the Evans International Law Firms, or the Teal firms, where excellence matters. And we are a business, intellectual property, international law, compliance, and regulation law firm. I've been in practice for 26 years. Unbelievable. I know. I look like I started when I was two. Thank you very much. But yeah, I didn't start when I was two. This is my fourth company, and Till Firms is a baby of the Joseph Center over at Living Word Christian Center. It's where I started it, where I got like my business foundation and where I teach business classes. So if you are interested in learning business from a Christian perspective, please go to JBS and ask some questions. There are hybrid classes, as well as on campus, as well as only online classes. So we have whatever you need. So before I even get started, I want to give you all an idea of what my week has been like. And I just want to have an opportunity to wasa. One thing I want to do before we even begin is remind you, as I always do, to drink your water. Drink your water. And then I like to start with a breath, and I just hold it for 3 and let it out. Okay, so just breathe with me. I keep my glasses on. Okay, breathe. Hold it. And let it out. Something's interesting. Sometimes we just forget to have deep breath, and we do this shallow breathing, and you think you're out of breath or something like that. It's because you're not breathing really deeply. So take it from your diagram and breathe it like breathing is something really special, because it is. Because after you leave here, there's no breath. So it is really special. So before I share, I'm going to share my Ooh, I was going to share my PowerPoint, but if you will give me a second, because I'm not exactly seeing that right now. I am going to go to my PowerPoint so that you can see it. And now, can I share? All right, I will share it. And we can get into what I'm going to talk about today. A whole bunch of stuff to talk about, but some fun stuff at first. So this is Till Open Office Hours. Is this ready to show? Till Open Office Hours. This is social, interactive social media experience. I love that. Okay. That's me teaching a class. So this is what I wanted to say. Congratulations to all of the graduates. I love graduation. I was going to wear my graduation hat. I just love graduation. Graduation is always so inspiring. And it's really good to get out. But then after you get out, like the whole thing starts all over, right? So if you're graduating from high school or college, they are 4 years in the US. I'm in Illinois, by the way. So anything I talk about, I may talk about something international unless I'm being very specific that it is international. I am talking about Illinois law. I don't know if you knew this, but lawyers are registered with the state of every single state. And so some states are now, combining the legal license, but for the most part, you have to register in every single state every single year, which means cha-ching, cha-ching, and all other kind of stuff. They want to make sure you have insurance. They want to find out, what you're doing pro bono. So, if you have a case that needs to be pro bono, pro bono means for free. Though nothing's for free, but it means that you are not paying. There are law firms, there are lawyers who have to do that. Sometimes they have to do it for their law office, or sometimes they just appreciate clients and want to help different communities, especially if it's their community. Or they may have some situation with the registration committee for the bar, and they may have to do pro bono work. So don't think just because I don't have money, I can't get a lawyer. Then on the other side, if you have a whole bunch of money, there may be other things that you can do with that money. So I don't know how I got on that. But anyway, congratulations to our graduates. I have had people in my family that graduated from Morehouse and from Spelman, and those are historically Black universities, though I have learned that they were actually started by people who were not historically Black, which is kind of interesting. But they've lasted for like hundreds of years. So this is good for the graduates because there is an increase in diverse hiring compared to 2024. And I don't think that's what we were expecting. I have seen some statistics, and I think we need to question them where they are saying that Black women being hired is decreasing. But what I see, and it might be just because it's in my line of work, is Black women who are starting their own companies. A lot of us are starting our own companies. A lot of people everywhere are starting their own companies, but I am seeing a lot of that in our community. When I say our community, I'm African American, so I think like African American community, and then I think like diverse community, and then I think like the world. And so everybody can be a part of my world community. So I go back and forth. But joining our global offices this summer is 187. Oh, I don't know where that came from. I only have I have 3 different interns that will be coming into Teal firms. So in 2011, I started a company, a nonprofit company called the Evans Exoneration Project. And this project assists with those who are wrongfully incarcerated. And so we do clemencies, we do appeals. And so I will bring in interns, high school interns, as well as college. I mean, little bit of high school interns. Sometimes they can read the letters and they just want to get an idea of what it's like to work in a law firm. So I'll let them work like a day or two and, do little errands and things like that. But then high school, college, as well as definitely law school. And I've had lawyers, a lot of lawyers will work because they're not working for that much money when it's nonprofit. Not all nonprofits are will pay you, less, because I worked for a big nonprofit before I started working in the private sector called Amnesty International. And they paid me more than I make here. But so don't think that nonprofit means no profit, because that's not true. Schools are nonprofit, churches are nonprofit, the NBA is nonprofit. It's for the greater good of everyone. So I'm not sure exactly. I'm going to put my thing over here. I don't know what that is, but we do have a few graduating seniors that will come and work with Till firms. And then let me see. There are many, many universities that are having graduation. So hats off to you if you have a graduate or if you're graduating. Okay, so this is what I thought about. So if you are graduating, there are jobs. I never thought about this when I was graduating from any school. I just decided what I wanted to do and then I went. But there are jobs that will exist in the future that you have to prepare for now that don't exist right now. So I just took a look at 5 of them, but you have to just Google this yourself. There are many of them. So the AI ethics consultant, I talk a lot about AI because everything is AI or moving that way. It's artificial intelligence. It's becoming more integrated into our daily lives, but there are ethical implications, and we're going to need consultants that will help businesses and governments to ensure that AI systems are designed responsibly, addressing concerns of bias, privacy, and transparency. Even now, as I was creating this PowerPoint, when I ask for a picture, if I don't specifically say that I want people of color or I want a diverse group, then it will only give me pictures of, one set of people. So that's a problem. It's not really a problem. I mean, I can just change it. But I think as we get more and more into this, it's going to be more and more of a problem. Quantum computing, that I have said before, I am seeing quantum computing everywhere. Like my brain is quantum computing. What is this? It means that things are going to speed up, or they are speeding up, and we need all of the chips that are being manufactured to make it. to have it speeding up. So with the rapid advancement of quantum computing, businesses will require professionals who specialize in developing, implementing quantum algorithms and applications. These specialists will bridge the gap between theoretical quantum computing research and practical commercial applications, will help revolutionize industries like healthcare, finance, and logistics. We will have, this one I like, detox specialists. So as people become more aware, I don't know if you're more aware of this, but I think we are becoming more aware of our mental and physical health impacts based on our constantly looking at data and constantly looking at social media all the time, right? So we're going to have digital detox specialists that will help individuals and organizations to manage screen time. I already have my little screen time on my phone, my notices, and it'll say, okay, you're 15 minutes up. And I just like, get rid of that. Like, it's only 15 minutes, then it's another 15 minutes and another 15 minutes. And you really have to set some kind of timer if you're going to scroll, because it just gets out of control. So we're going to have specialists to help us with that. So you might, even if you didn't just graduate and you're looking for a way out of your current job that might be toxic, this is one of the things that you can look at. Space tourism guides. And I know people don't want to talk about this, but we're going to space, okay? We are going to space. And when we go to space, we're going to have someone to show us around. So space tourism guides will be responsible for helping tourists experience and understand space travel. Welcome to the Space Jam. They will likely need a combination of space science knowledge and customer service experience. Hello, this is Demitrus Evans. We will be going to space now. Please watch your step. We will also need personal data brokers. These are individuals that will help people to manage and monetize their own data. You know that when you put things out on the web, that the real deal is you are being sold. Your data is being sold. That's why they want you to post. They want you to talk. They want you to put your pictures of all your kids and everything out there, so that, and who's they? Those are the powers that be. Those are the people that control, our social media, our metas. And they're selling or will start to sell, and you want to sell your own data. So these professionals will assist individuals in deciding how and when to share their data, ensuring privacy. Privacy is super important and will be more in the future, and potentially negotiating data sales for corporations while maintaining ethical standards. So hooray, hooray, graduates, get ready to take advantage of some of the new things that are happening, new jobs. So I have to talk about our global landscape, because it's such a part of what I do every day. And sometimes I don't think people really realize how much this is affecting us. But we've had a decrease by 12% since these trade tensions have escalated. We've had so many supply chain disruptions, including automotive, electronics, pharmaceuticals, textiles, energy, and agriculture, as well as we've had regional shifts. These have been interesting, where we've seen, groups of countries kind of get together to decide what to do, how to affect trade and come together to make their trading bloc stronger. And then we have three major bilateral deals that have been signed since 2023. Okay, so one of them that is fascinating to me, this is a weird slide, but Burkina Faso has established closer ties with Russia, particularly after a military coup in 2022. They have a new president and Russia has come to their aid. But just look at some of the things that Russia I got a picture of Touré. So this is a picture of, I probably talked about him before. I'm a little bit fascinated with him. He's like in his 30s, and he's a really tough guy, and he is really smart, and he's going around mainly, with a lot of countries. Burkina Faso decided that they no longer wanted their minerals to be taken. So they've asked I guess asked is a good way to do it. Maybe kicked out France, and so that is a problem because whenever African countries that have been colonized now decide that they no longer want their colonizers to be a part of what they are doing, and they don't want to pay them anymore, then the colonizers are like, wait, what are you doing? Hold up. And so they've tried to assassinate him 17 times, but these are some of the things that he's done. Following a coup, he's captain, Abraham Touré, they moved away from traditional Western allies. They've had Russian support. The Russians have provided military cooperation, and they are now starting, they have a nuclear operation that will be taking place. And Burkina Faso, along with Mali and Niger, also formed the alliance of Sahel states, indicating a shared commitment to security. So, my beloved Africa, I had to talk about what is happening there. That's just the beginning of things that have happened. You probably have seen things on the news, and I'll talk about those in a different open office hour. Okay, so wait a minute. I'm trying to get to my next slide and having problems here. Okay. I just put it all together. So military support from Russia, training Burkina forces and equipment supply that's active, a nuclear power, construction of a nuclear power plant that has been signed to increase energy security alliance, diplomatic ties, the reduction of Western partnerships, especially with France. Okay, so ASEAN in trade, this is the agreement where they're joining together, but it refers to the Association of Southeast Asian nations and their role in promoting and facilitating trade amongst their member countries with the outside world. So they aim to create a single market. And I think we're seeing this in different pockets, right? In Africa, we have AFTA, where they are now trading with each other, which is also fascinating. But all of these countries getting together, deciding to trade amongst themselves is really, it's a shift that we haven't seen in the world. So fascinating. Trade war consequences. I talked about this a little bit, but I'm seeing companies that are really looking for places to put their manufacturing. They want to relocate. They want more, it's land, it's workers, it's they look at weather. There are a number of things. I don't know if you follow me on some of my social media, but I did a tour it was put together by the U.S. Commercial Service, but they bring country representatives over, and those country representatives are really made. There are a lot of people who are in the private sector, and so they come to the United States to look at where they will put their manufacturing plants, or what the marketing will be like. They're just getting a sense, and our government will help them to get a sense of whether or not they will bring it's really investment to our country, and particularly to Chicago, where I am. There are a lot of reasons to come to Chicago, some that I guess I knew, but I didn't realize when I hear, 50 people saying, 50 heads of companies saying, we're considering Chicago because of the clean water that's there. I'm like, wow, that's fascinating that we have that, because as we have all of these issues that happen in the world with our weather, it's nice to know that we have that fresh water here. So the technology sector impact, 22% cost increase for imported components. You knew this because anything that you are getting off of Amazon, you knew that was going up. Consumer prices, an average of 15% increase on affected product categories. And then market volatility, 27% higher fluctuations in commodity futures. So at least, we have seen that since President Trump has, pushed back on some of his, tweeting and changes for international trade, that we've seen it come back, and countries now decide that they are going to do the same, drop their tariffs as well. So happy about that. What I have here. So the legal landscape, this, so I talked a little bit about the Evans Exoneration Project, and habeas corpus is very important to what we do. Sometimes if you go up to appeal and the appeals don't work, then we can go into a federal court and have a habeas challenge. And habeas challenge just means that my body is being held against my will and it's unconstitutional. So we had an executive order 14998 that expanded federal detention authority, and that was 23. And 24, the Supreme Court limited judicial review in Torres v. the United States. And then in early 25, congressional hearings took place on detention practices. People being sent all over the world, mainly El Salvador, and threats that maybe there will be more people, and not just people who are undocumented or have green cards, but quite possibly doing away with the right of United States citizenship just by birth, which includes everybody. So right now we have President Trump saying that President Trump and his cabinet, I forget who exactly, but I was looking at the other day, saying they want to do away with habeas corpus, because if we all, if we legally challenge everything that he's doing, then they'll all be tied up in court. So just eliminate the whole thing. Hopefully it's not legal. And then I know that I'm going fast here, but a lot of things going on. So I want to talk about the Crown Act. There is a movie. So if you get an opportunity, please check out the movie on the Crown Act. And let me see, do I have something on what is the Crown Act? Hold on. Oh, good. Here we go. Okay. So the Crown Act, it stands for creating a respectful and open world for natural hair. I do have natural hair. I straighten it like once a week or something like that, but I was caught in the rain the other day and I had an afro. So sometimes I have an afro, but I do keep it natural, and you have to be careful because, all kind of lawsuits about perms and things like that. Anyway, I digress. So this is legislation prohibiting discrimination based on hair textures. We've had discrimination based on hair textures, but we also had lawsuits that we saw, especially at the end of last year, because the perms that we were wearing for Black women, they were causing cancer. They were causing cancer, all kind of problems, skin cancer, just from the chemicals that we're getting into our skin. Because your hair absorbs. One time I worked on this lawsuit where it talked about like the hair follicles. You can just take the hair follicles and you can test them, and if you test them, like if you've been around smoke or any kind of drugs, it just like gets sucked up into your hair. It's really, really interesting. But we also saw this year, 2025, where there's a lot of research about the fake hair. I wear wigs. I love wigs, but the wigs, they damage our hair. Sometimes Black women think of them as protective styles, but if you wear them too much, it will ruin your hair, because your scalp can't breathe and your scalp needs to breathe. It's like your hands, or it's your skin, it needs to breathe. So sometimes when we're covering it up, then not only does it damage, but some of the chemicals that they use to make the fake hair for the wigs or for the sew-ins, that has been damaging not only our hair but our bodies. Like, again, the chemicals don't just stay where they are melting into our skin. So if you are a wig wearer like me, you have to be careful, because those things could be very damaging. So at the very least, I say switch it up. Sometimes you're natural, and sometimes you're doing whatever you have to do with your wigs or with your extensions. I've looked at this a couple of times, even in office actions, and going way back to even like ancient Egypt. A lot of Black women, they wore hair pieces. Like, it's always been a part of what we do, and it's always been fascinating, and I love it. I love all of the creative styles. I really like Afro punk hairstyles, where it'll be like braids and then they have these things out here. I love that stuff. I I probably have to go to a specific hairdresser who does that. And you may see me with that, or maybe I'll get a wig. That's one of them. But anyway, this legislation for the Crown Act, it extends the legal definition of race to include natural hair characteristics. So race used to be based on, the color of your skin, your parents, your nationality, but now it extends to natural hair characteristics, kinky hair, all that kind of stuff. What does it protect? It prevents workplace discrimination and a denial of employment. Throughout history, Black women have been discriminated for many, many hairstyles. I believe we are the only race where we've seen this happen, like where people say, oh, that hairstyle is not professional because it might be kinky, because it's braids or whatever. I had a situation when one of my girls was very small, teeny tiny ballerina, and I had like beads in the hair. It was braided. We had just come from, I don't know, some warm tropical place that I wish I was now. It's really cold in Chicago, but we just come from there. And so she had these beads. So it was time for ballet. And they said she can't come with the braided hair and the beads. So I got the beads, right? So I just took it and pulled all the braids back, took all the beads off. And then they said, no, ballerinas don't wear braids. So I was just like, you don't understand. Like, that's going to be good for me and going to school. I don't have to worry about that hair in the morning, but also I paid a lot of money to get these braids. And so they would not allow her to do ballet with the braids in her hair. And so, baby, let me just, how that turned out, right? That I had to fight that, and she had to watch me fight that. And so, it was what it was. You can't let stuff like that pass. I would not have had to do that probably if the Crown Act was in effect, but this is a long time ago. So it protects students from dress code violations. We've seen this, like there was a video that was going around, a case where the African American boy was, I think it was wrestling or something like that, and he had his hair was locked, and they made him cut it, or somebody cut it. So this will protect the students from dress code violations based on their hair or hairstyles. It prohibits housing discrimination based on hairstyles. Go figure. You can't live here because of the way you wear your hair. Like, that's crazy. It ensures equal access to public accommodations based on hair. It has an economic impact. It reduces financial loss from missed employment opportunities, prevents wage disparities that are tied to hair discrimination, enables career advancement without compromising cultural identity. Like, a lot of people are not allowed in some jobs, like are not allowed to wear the different hairstyles even now, but now that we have the Crown Act, they should back up. Implementation status. Right now we have 28 states beyond the original legislation and federal legislation that is pending in Congress, and growing corporate adoption beyond the requirements. Love that act. Okay, so moving on from hair to money and intellectual property. By the way, I wrote a book called Profit from Your Intellect, where, I don't know, 3 years ago, I just put everything into a book that I knew about intellectual property that I wish I knew when I first started my business. And so, there are many ways to make money from your intellect. And if you want to get that book, that is on Amazon, or you can contact me directly. And we have, I don't know, like maybe 20 copies here, and we can get those to you for less, whatever Amazon charged us. But we have enhanced protection of intellectual property. So now we have new blockchain verified IP registration systems. We have regulatory frameworks involving oversight across major markets. We have a total major market growth in cryptocurrency to the tune of $4.2 trillion capitalization. And we have legal challenges, jurisdictional disputes in regard to digital asset space. So I have been saying this forever. You're probably tired of me saying this if you've been listening to me, that cryptocurrency is going nowhere. We have got to learn it. We have got to invest in it. But as we are moving forward together, wait, before I even do that, people say, how do I do that? Right. So you can go to Coinbase. You're going to need a purse. You are going to need to do your research on what cryptocurrency to purchase. And you should get into a little cryptocurrency class. Whenever people send me information on crypto, I read it because this landscape is changing really rapidly. ETFs and things like that. And if you don't know what that means you're going to fall behind. I was talking to my staff today. I tell people all the time, we are at least 12 years behind where the technology really is. And if you are just sitting here and we're already 12 years behind and it just keeps going forward, so you're just going to keep going until you're totally off the screen. So get with it now. I don't care how old you are. I don't care, if you're 4, like, I don't care. Let your parents get you on a crypto class, or if you are 94, like, learn about crypto because it's important. I don't teach it to your your grandchildren. Do whatever you have to do. I am a commissioner, and as a commissioner, then I think a lot about the ecological systems that we have and how we can make it better for the next generation. How can we cut down on using everything, buying everything instead of reusing and recycling, and instead of being conscious of ESG initiatives in all business units. So please, when you're thinking about your business, make sure that there is a way to, send something as simple as sending cartridges back so that they can be reused for your ink, or all of the paper going to shredding parties, like our jurisdiction, like a couple days a year or something like that, will have a big shredding project. And so we don't have to throw paper away. We do have to keep it, but it's necessary because they'll reuse it. They'll just recycle it. There's also, I was thinking about electronics. After our electronics get to be so old, like, we can't use them anymore. So don't throw them away, because the parts, the batteries and things like that can be recycled. I know I said drink your water, but this is really good coffee. So I'm still drinking my coffee, but I probably should stop at this point. But implementing enhanced supply chain transparency is going to be important as we move forward. As well as, I think it's super important to be engaged with your community. Now, I talked about community a little bit earlier when I opened. Your community is whatever you think your community is. Sometimes your community is just your household. I don't know, depending on how many children you have, but your community could also expand, to your town or to a group. That could be like a trade group that you're a part of based on something that you do, an interest group, say you're an artist or whatever it is. Be cognizant of what you are doing in your groups and make sure that you expand the groups that you are in. Launch social impact programs for underserved markets, and please don't forget about those who are less fortunate than you. So your groups will be reaching back to either give money, raise money, scholarships. I did that this year through BWLA. That was a fantastic opportunity for me to be a part of a group that wanted to reach back and help those who are less fortunate. And even if you're not less fortunate, even like you have a whole lot of money, when you get ready to go to school, there's just costs that you can't work while you go to school. Well, I did for one of my degrees, but for my undergraduate degree, I did not work. And so, it's hard, it's hard to, it's a sacrifice. That's why I'm like, go graduates. But it is also going to be more important that we create more inclusive workspaces and workspace policies. So that's why I wanted to talk about the Crown Act. This is an important part of corporations. So if you're in a corporation or you have a corporation, make sure you're cognizant of it, you're talking about it, and and you're seeing it lived out. At least, I always think, not on my watch. Like I'm going to say something about about something that's bothering me when it's on my watch. Growth projections, 17% are expected for company expansion by 2026. You want to be one of the companies that are expanding and opening new regional offices, talking to myself, and expanding internationally. How are you going to do that? You are going to have your systems and your people and your mind intact and ready to go, boots on the ground. We are going to do this. We are taking our businesses to another level. Right now, we're at the end of almost at the end of June, we're going to finish the second quarter. So whatever goal you were reaching for, you should be halfway there. And no matter if you're halfway there or not, don't give up. Keep going, keep implementing, keep learning, keep growing, keep it on. Of course, if there's anything that Teal Firms can do for you or your business, please let us know. Again, we do contracts, we do intellectual property, trademarks, patents, trademark and copyright, trade secret. We'll help you with all of that. We have a lot of blogs on www.tealfirms.com. I am starting to put as many videos as I can. And of course, I'm not the only lawyer that's doing it, right? So listen to them. It's free legal advice. It's like a no-brainer, right? Free legal advice. I mean, sometimes free legal advice is just free and maybe you need to leave it there, but not with me. I'm giving you things that have come into the office and I hope that they're helpful. If you have questions for me or you think, Demitrus, could you research this and talk about this on an open office live? I will do that. If you send it to me, you can always send that to admin, ADMIN, at Teal Firms, TEIL firms.com. I'll do the research, or I'll have somebody else do the research in conjunction with AI, and I'll put it in one of these slides and we'll talk about it. Probably something I want to know about, or if I just know a little bit, maybe I should expand my knowledge about it. So you'll be helping me, you'll be helping your fellow, what do I call it? Community, and we'll all be growing together. How about that? Okay, I want to bid you a great night. Hope you have a great Wednesday. Wednesday is hump day, so you've gotten that far. Now we're just going to get over the hump and keep going until Friday. All right, God bless you. Talk to you soon. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye.